I'm sorry to report this to the people of Ireland, but unfortunately we have one fatality in the coronavirus who has died from the coronavirus. A female in the east of the country has died from the coronavirus, the first death on Irish soil. And obviously, there's no words to use to make anything any better, and we just sympathise with the family, and it's very tough. It's very very tough. Um, very tough. My sympathy goes to the family and to our friends and to our extended family. Unfortunately, the news came in the last 2 hours that has been another 9 cases in the Republic of Ireland. 34 was yesterday. Now it's 43. Yeah. And it's now classified as a pandemic. In that regard, I have to say, emergency powers will have to be immediately put into place across this entire island. It has begun to become a pandemic. It has gone far in 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks in the island of Ireland, and we have 43 cases in the Republic, and 16 in Northern Ireland. That's a lot for just 2 weeks. And I asked the government in Dublin, I asked the local authorities in Cavan, and I asked all the local authorities in the Ulster region to close schools and to close colleges, for further introduce secretaries in national schools and creches as an emergency powers to combat the coronavirus. And under the Emergency Powers Act 1939, and then declare a state of emergency. Obviously, I'm not going to lie to people and say to people, our health service can't cope, because it really, really can't cope. The numbers of, in 2 weeks, is 9 in a day. It's far too much, and sadly, I will have to say to the people, and have to tell people to prepare, that there probably will be more fatalities. And God will, and God hopefully will just, send this virus away and just make it go away. Because, it's devastating. It's devastating that one person has died. I'm absolutely devastated and absolutely saddened to hear the news. I honestly just don't know what to say. It's really breaking my heart to have to even talk about it. But we must be strong. We must be strong in this time of crisis, and we must do our best as a country and as communities to do our best to try and combat and to try and protect our family and try to protect ourselves. It will be hard. It will take time. Our economy might collapse a bit. But we must do what we must do to protect our country and to protect our people. And I would say to people, to keep an eye out. And if you have any symptoms at all of the coronavirus, to report them immediately to the HSE. And to try and isolate yourself as much as possible if you do have symptoms. And I say this to people, and I say this to people very lightly. The government have a fund for people who are people who work on their own, and people who work in businesses. And if you feel like closing down your businesses, if you're afraid, or if you do have a case of the coronavirus in your business, please close down. There's some businesses still carrying on with some coronavirus cases in Ireland, and I say to people, please, in the name of God, think of yourself, think of your family, and think of the wider community. And I would ask people, but I asked the government, and I've already asked the local authorities, along with so many other county councillors, to close the schools immediately after St Patrick's Day. And I asked the Cavan County Council to close all national schools and all secondary schools and all further education colleges and all creches in the county. And I asked them again to please close as a precaution and as a safety measure to the young people of Ireland. And above all, to show the people of Ireland that we're going to act, and we're not afraid to act as a government, as local governments. Because it's time for action. It's not time to sit around and argue and barge about things. It's time for action. It's time for things to be done to combat this. It's gone over 50. We need to do something now before it goes and infects more of the population, because there's no sign of stopping. And we can only hope and we can only pray as only citizens of Ireland. And we can only hope that God will give us the strength to fight this virus off. And we can only pray and hope for the best. And prepare for the inevitable and prepare for the worst. And please God give us strength. Thank you.